Hello everyone, I am Tacet, and today I'm going to be going over the Gems of War Halloween event, which is the Dead and Loving It event in which the Nosferatu and Bat Swarm are added as glory rewards, as well as the Umber Wolf in event keys, and we'll be opening him up shortly, but let's go over the two glory related ones, the easier ones to obtain. As far as the bat, it does give some brown-red trait stones. This would be used for a lava elemental earlier on in the game or a Shagra later on. This is basically like a budget version of Crimson Bat, so if any of you happen to not have a Crimson Bat, this could be something that you can use instead. It deals true damage to all enemies at a noteworthy lower amount than Crimson Bat. I would say it's approximately 30 to 40% less damage when all the way at Mythic than that of a Crimson Bat, but it has, instead of gaining life, the ability to transform into Nosferatu, which is what this other one is. One thing to note about its traits is, other than them being kind of low, it does have Stealthy, and all three of these troops transform back and forth into each other, and it also, all three of them have Stealthy, so they can't be targeted by spells, assuming they don't get stunned. Means they won't really be able to get targeted by all the really hard single targets, which will be pretty nice. But yes, whenever a troop transforms, for any of you that don't know, all positives or all negative and positive status effects, any buffs or anything, gets removed from the troop, and it basically starts as a brand new troop as whatever it happens to transformed into. So if we end up transforming into Nosferatu, we basically just go straight into a normal Nosferatu. One other thing to note is that the level at which it transforms into is based on magic. Luckily, this bat thing has a lot of magic, so do keep that in mind though. So on some of the other ones that do have slightly lower magic, if you happen to be, if the magic happens to get lowered, the summon will also come in at a lowered state. The level at which it gets summoned is also capped based on its rarity. So as you can see, this bat right now is a ultra rare, which means it caps at level 17. So even if, let's say, our Nosferatu has over 20 magic, it will still cap out at only a level 17, because that is the highest rarity we have of that troop. So Nosferatu, another really nice true damage option. It has brown, purple trait stones. Later on in the game, you would use this for Drake Rider. Early on in the game, you would use it for Drake Rider. Later in the game, you'd likely get something like Keeper of Souls or a Cabarrus. As far as Nosferatu himself, he has a kind of average true damage to a single enemy, but it deals double if there is a Dark Storm, which puts it at one of the highest single target true damages in the entire game. I believe the only thing that has higher than that when it does a double to a single target would be that of Jotnar, because he just recently got a buff that made him pretty decent. But yeah, this is basically not counting Jotnar. He is basically the highest single target true damage, assuming there's a Dark Storm. Of course, you need an actual Dark Storm on the board though, but then it transforms into either a Umber Wolf or a Bat Swarm. Bat Swarm being the other one, Umber Wolf being the new legend, and as I mentioned, it does indeed have the Stealthy. So those are the two for Glory. Let's go over and do some event keys, I guess. Let's go do the keys and go get ourselves the new legend. I actually have not bothered to use it yet because I haven't opened any keys. Wanted to save it for the video, and there we go, already getting an Umber Wolf. And in all honesty, I don't really need more than one. It's not really something that we'll need multiple copies of. So let me go over Umber Wolf since we just got him. Umber Wolf. He is a legend, obviously. He deals damage to the first two enemies, and he also places Hunter's Mark and Death Mark on both of them. One thing to note is he is the first troop that is capable of multi-hunter marking, at least that is a decent troop. He will be able to spam that quite excessively. Has a pretty average mana cost, so if you just put an Exploder with it, you'll be able to keep spamming it. One other thing to note with Exploder synergy with this guy is do keep in mind that skulls that are exploded do interact to do 2 times damage when the enemy's hunted mark. So let's say you explode 7 skulls, that is then going to do 14 damage. It basically makes exploding a viable option for doing damage to the enemy, so do keep that in mind. And the fact that it hits the first 2, when you start cascading like crazy, it will really be effective. Not only that, but he has a legendary trait that will help him to do that too. He is the easiest troop in the entire game to put a storm onto the board. He creates a Dark Storm at the start of every single turn. Not only does this counter out basically any storm that the enemy might do if they're running some kind of storm-based team, but this will also allow you, of course, assuming he's not stunned, to have a perpetual Dark Storm for your team. Obviously, with Nosferatu, this would be very, very, very beneficial. But there's plenty of teams that don't even use anything like that that will be able to utilize the fact that you're putting a bunch more purples on the board. Again, as I mentioned, he has stealthy like all three of these guys do, and this guy transforms back into a Nosferatu. Both the Bat and the Umber Wolf both go back to a Nosferatu, so do keep that in mind. So let's go get this guy traded. We have a bunch of spare event keys. I'll probably just save those for later. Maybe we'll get more, not quite sure. But let me go and upgrade the Umber Wolf. Need to at least go get his, did I spell that wrong? Probably. Easy way to go there. Let's go to Ghulvania. Also, just to recap real quick, everything that is in the event key drop pool, for anyone wondering, it is Crimson Bat, Avina, Dark Priestess, I forget your rarity, Dark Priestess, Draculus, Flesh Golem, Grave Knight, Morthani's Will, Nosferatu, Umberwolf, Werewolf, and that's it. And there'll be a few other ones from other kingdoms, but those are all the main drops. Particularly the Crimson Bat, Draculus, and Umberwolf are the three biggest ones you would want to hope for. So let's go get this guy all the way upgraded. Let's go get him leveled, and let's go into the other stuff then. Let me just get that right there. Boom. And there we go, all maxed out, other than him not being mythic, but we'll manage that later. So, what to do next? Let's go over something I always keep forgetting lately. Let me go over the Soul Forge and go over the troops that are craftable this week. So, what do we have? We have Moloch. Is he worth it? Yes. If you happen to not have one, he's a pretty good Guild War troop, mainly because he has a single target drain that synergizes pretty well on yellow days, as well as occasionally on some red days, depending on what specifically you are running. He also has a +1 fire link, so he'll easily get his ability up just a little bit quicker. His final trait is pretty weak, especially given how 4 times matches has been nerfed. With the nerf, they could probably double that effect, and it wouldn't really be too bad. Because Plague has it at 3 times, and that's not even particularly useful. Anyways, Gorgoltha, really, really good to get. He is one of the tankiest troops in the entire game due to 75% mitigation to any skulls that he ends up taking. This isn't as important these days, but definitely a really, really decent troop. On brown and yellow Guild War days, he can be very effective. He also has a cleanse to himself, so you don't need to worry about him really dying to death mark and stuff like that normally. And it also just does a lot of explosions and covers many roles for your team. And those two are basically the 2 biggest ones that you'd want to craft as far as legends. There's also Sakima, not really that needed, but she is one of the 3 core double converters who does a something to skulls and then something to a color. She's kind of like an Inferno King, except instead of having split damage, she has it all concentrated onto a single target, so you can wipe out the weak, about to die single target up front, and then do all the skulls into the next in line. As far as mythics that are craftable this week, the only one that is really viable is Famine. I would say Draculus too, but you could probably just get him off of event keys this week. So I wouldn't really say you could craft him, but Famine, some people may want to go for this guy. He's currently the best mana drainer in the game as far as mana draining the entire enemy team, because he mana drains the entire enemy team for their full amount. He also does extremely high single target damage, and is often used in every single Guild War day that uses color both brown, yellow, and green. So pretty versatile, and he covers half the Guild War days. So a lot of people like to get him. Still, again, this standard disclaimer, I still believe Farish Ra is the absolute best thing to craft as far as mythics in the Soul Forge, simply because he increases the amount of souls you gain. But if you're looking for something really solid in Guild Wars, you can't really get much better than a Famine. Anyways, event stuff. Go over to the event tab, and we have our bonuses. We have 10% to all Ghulvania. We also have 10% to all undead, and I mean to all beasts. Why did I say undead? Though this is about 40% of Ghulvania, surprisingly. 30, 40, don't know the exact percent, but quite a bit within Ghulvania actually is a beast. But yeah, definitely consider that. As far as the souls here, don't consider it. It's only 20% for using 4 undead. I was messing around with this with a couple different teams. It is definitely not worth it. You might as well just use a standard soul farming team. Basically completely ignore that you even get 20 souls for using all undead. And the killing. We need to go kill a bunch of purple troops. This is going to be relatively easy. It has to be done in PvP, though just from passively doing PvP, you are likely going to gain the 150 kill goal. That is a relatively low goal for something that is pretty common to do, so it shouldn't take that long at all. So with all of the event stuff out of the way, let's go and yeah, let's dive in. I haven't even used this Umberwolf yet, so hopefully it won't get completely crushed. Of course, we're up against the meta as the very first battle, That is very unfortunate. I almost want to bail right now, but I guess we'll give it a shot. This is personally my favorite team that I have created so far out of these. I wanted to try one first, of course, that didn't use any Umbra Wolf because we haven't actually gotten the chance to use them. Though, this does actually kind of synergize with Umbra Wolf simply because it does have the triple purples on the team that are going to be able to utilize his Darkstorm, of course. So right off the bat, pretty standard with any Valkyrie team is get Valkyrie up. Pretty much first thing every single time. So let's go and get a cast off, and this will give us our mana generation. You may notice we have a exploder as well as a mana generator that can easily get back into that. We also have a double stat reduction, something I don't normally run with her, but it's actually pretty decent. The main reason I have this guy, other than the fact that he does a stat reduction, which synergizes with the Azura, he does a Darkstorm. He's going to help us a lot with being able to place the Darkstorms that we need to kind of get everything going. So right here, I just want to explode on blue. We don't have a Darkstorm or anything yet, so I do want to start getting more mana on just to start getting everything up. We need everything to be operational, particularly the Darkstorm, before we can really get going. Can we get... Yes, we can. So we'll throw that down. It doesn't actually put the mana into anything, but we finally got the final mana I need for that, so that's the main goal I was heading for. And now we can go throw this down, get our Darkstorm, and go for our kill. This is basically the capability right now to kill almost anything in the game. By the time we get him to Mythic, that's probably going to be around 27 damage for me, and that's going to be 54 true damage to a single target with the Darkstorm. So yeah, that gives us a lot of options to kill. As this current moment, it is 46 damage, which is enough to kill everything except that Queen Mab. So of course what we're going to do, kill out the first Kraken, and it does go to a bat. I have noticed since I've been using this that the Bat Swarm has been occurring a lot more than the actual legend. I don't know if that's just me getting bad luck or if they've weighted it differently. But yeah, we'll see after we test it a little bit more. I've only casted it about like 6 times or so, so it could just be really bad luck. But yeah, it does seem like it transforms into bat more often than the Nosferatu, which is a little bit unfortunate. If it happens to not be even, I really wish it was even, because Nosferatu would be so nice to have more often with this guys, because of course the synergy that ends up occurring. So right here, just to make sure we have enough, I'm going to do the Darkstorm, though the HP reduction we just did via that was actually enough, so it didn't even need the Darkstorm, but oh well. It was him casting that made it go down enough anyways, so we'll go throw that in, of course kill the Kraken, and there we go. Maybe it is 50-50, who knows. But there we go, one of them went to Umbra Wolf, one of them didn't. And as you can see, we of course get the Darkstorm at the start of every single turn, basically making it so it never stops, which is going to be very beneficial to us, given the fact that we have so many things that do utilize that on the team. And of course, with explosions, there is a much higher chance that you would end up hitting that nice extra turn. Also, the Umbra Wolf, of course, does Hunter's Mark, and with Hunter's Mark into Explosion, that will do twice as much damage off of all the skulls. Let's go for a really big hit right there, and that is the kill. So, yep, that's probably my favorite one to use with it so far. There are definitely plenty. But, I don't know, I really like the synergy that ends up occurring. Well, here we go. Double Whisk Kraken Queen Mab. Same premise, different team. So, here we go. Running with a bunch of bats. Somewhat similar to the team we just did. With triple purple troops and then a mana generator. This is purple red troops and a mana generator. Using the 3 bats. The Crimson Bat, the Bat Swarm, and Draculus. Which technically is a bat. Well, I guess more like a vampire. Close enough. They all hit full AoE true damage, and that's the point of this. So, let's go throw this down. Unfortunately, this is not full beast, though, I mean, full undead. If it was full undead, we'd end up getting the extra 20 souls. But we have a beast there, we have a beast there, beast daemon, so yeah, it doesn't actually count. It's partially beast, partially undead, not all the way towards either. Okay, let's see what we can do here. We need to go and... What do we need to do? I really want to get Hellcat up, but I'm like looking at that purple. Oh no, I can do purple to the right instead. And we'll get that then. Go straight for that Hellcat. Got 0 surges, but as long as we get this one to surge, we're fine. Perfect. And now we just need to throw this somewhere. So you kind of ruined our alignment there, but we do have blues. Not really a color I want to get rid of, but if it's the only option, I will. So we get our mana started a bit. Get the Crimson Bat. That'll give us our first really big damage, though I do want to hold it if we can, just to go straight into the bat. If we could take a red right here, that'd be great. I guess I could take a brown. Problem with this is it doesn't leak into the Draculus. I guess that won't be too big a deal, but yeah, let's go take that. Very nice Cascade right there too. And now we could just go crazy throwing everything. So we'll throw... You know what? We could actually get that right there. We might as well get all their mana up, apparently. We'll go take that. And that sets us up slightly. Didn't really help us too much on the mana. We'll take a red-green just to fill them up. But you know what? We're just going to go triple true damage full AoE. We're just going all in at this point. Let them take the skull. We're just going to go one after the other after the other. No point in not doing it. We already have like almost all of it, so might as well go all out. So Draculus first, so we get the true damage for the HP steal. Then we'll throw the Crimson Bat, because why not? And, of course, finish it up with the other bats. There we go. The triple full AoE for the kill. Very nice. Not exactly what I intended to do with it, but, hey, still the same result. Yeah, all of them full AoE. Very nice. Should we take the revenge? It's too tempting. It is way too tempting. That wouldn't really be much of a battle. So let's go switch over to the Umberwolf related team. Oh, I haven't replaced out the Umberwolf though. Let me go get an Umberwolf in there. So Umber, where are you? Oops, if I can spell, go. Spelling, how does it work? Umberwolf, go in. And there we go. Gurgulfa, Umberwolf, Forest Guardian, and a Merline. Merline, of course, to counter out those Devours. Forest Guardian being used to give all beasts 50% mana, and of course the Umberwolf is indeed a beast, and the Merline is also a beast. I do keep in mind with odd numbers it does get rounded down, but with Umberwolf it's going to be a pretty solid 8, and we're just going to rush Gurgulfa, get the explosion, get everything filled up, and kind of just go from there. So let's get into it. We're up against a triple Christinex Dragon Soul. That can actually kill us pretty easily. Christinex can do quite a bit of damage, particularly with an exploder like that will keep generating the mana that it needs. So right off the bat, oh wow, that's the first time I've actually used an Umberwolf in my starting team. I did not realize it actually starts it from the very first turn. That is kind of cool. So even the first turn you take has the purple effect going. So you can get some really good starts then using a Umberwolf. One thing to note is I really don't think there'll ever be a team that would bother utilizing 2 Umberwolves. It's nice that both of them would of course hit the first 2 slots, but given that all of his traits kind of don't really stack, particularly the Darkstorm obviously, there wouldn't really be much of a purpose in having multiple of him on a team. You still want to get multiple eventually to get him to Mythic of course, but as far as on a team you wouldn't really need to. So what does this thing do? I believe it's brown to yellow and brown to green and purple to skull. Purple to skull, of course, is the whole reason why we're even using it. Brown to green, we could go without, but if it could actually give us alignment, that'd be nice, though it is not doing that right now. So right off the bat, I think we're going to go for a Umberwolf there, get the death marks, of course. One thing that this will do is allow us to do 2 times damage if we were to go for any kind of skull damage. Doesn't matter if it's Gurgulfa or if it's from this, so of course we can just use it with this. And that basically just hits right through the stone skin, given that we're doing 2 times and he has 50% reduction. So it's basically just doing our base skull damage instead. So we could easily tear him apart with the Gurgulfa right here. That does twice as much damage as it normally would. We get a skull poke, we get an extra turn, a little bit of everything that we need. Do we have any alignments? No, we have a pair. That's not an extra turn though. So I think we'll just clean up with a Merlion then. There's of course the silence as well. And that ends up getting a hit. Do we have alignment now? No, we do not. Still just as bad as before. So we'll go get full mana on our Gurgulfa. We have a Nosferatu, and as I mentioned earlier, of course, he does do 2 times damage when there is a Darkstorm. And since we had a Umberwolf from the beginning there, we still have our Darkstorm in place, so we can easily go use that. Though I don't think we're going to need to. We're just going to throw that down, and actually, I lied. We are going to need it, and down it goes. So that is what a Umberwolf can do. It's quite a powerful troop. The fact that it can create a Darkstorm, or any storm, so easily, oh, we got an Arcane, is pretty strong. It is definitely very, very strong. If they start adding this for every single color, basically all 6 of the troops that end up getting this, or all 7, because there might be a Bone Storm version, basically all 7 of them are going to be quite viable, simply because of how valuable this kind of trait is. Do keep in mind, if you're finding it annoying on the enemy team, you can counter it by using a stun plus using a different storm. So first you would have to stun him, and then you could place a storm that isn't a dark storm, or simply just constantly keep stunning him and just wait for the dark storm to go away. That would probably be the easiest way to counter it. That, or just kill it quickly. You can't single target it, but if it happens to be more towards the last slot, you can use Kraken against it. If it happens to be more towards the front, you could use Corvash against it, and stuff like that. You don't have to. You can still target it down without specifically targeting it, even though it's a stealthy. But of course, easiest way: stun it with something like a Corvash, and then that would disable pretty much everything that he does that's even useful. Do have to watch out for the death marks. As more death marks do come into the game, it's going to become more and more of a relevant mechanic. I don't believe I ever said specifically what it did, though I kind of just assumed. But yeah, Hunter's Mark makes everything skull related do 2 times more damage. Some of you may not be aware of it simply because it gets used on almost nothing. But yeah, that includes all explosions, that includes all skulls. Basically anything you do that is involved with a skull will do 2 times damage to the enemies. That includes any kind of destroying of it, regardless of if it's like a row or a full explosion or a single one. Any way that they get destroyed will indeed do it, as long as it's not a removal. But anyways, yep, that is the 3 new troops. Definitely really nice. I highly advise using event keys to get this new guy. He is quite fun to use. Haven't used him too much, obviously, because this was like the first battle we really got of him. We will be streaming later tonight, of course, messing with him quite a bit more than what we did. See what kind of teams he can do with all kind of various purples. There's quite a bit of synergy that will be capable with such powerful dark storming. But anyways, guys, thank you all so much for watching. If you guys have any other questions, feel free to leave it in the comment section below. Thank you all best of luck with the drop pull if you're going to be opening up event keys, and I hope you all have a wonderful Halloween. Thank you all so much for watching, and have a wonderful week. Goodbye, everyone.